Why is the US letting people from some countries in without a visa, but still closing the door to others? In 2025, some Asian countries will get visa-free access to the US. But why them? What changed? Some of these nations now have strong economies and are close partners with America. Others have good security systems that make travel feel safe and smooth. But here's the shocking part. Some of these countries weren't always welcomed this way. Something clearly changed behind the scenes. If your country made the list, you might be flying to the US sooner than you ever imagined. Number 10, Taiwan. Can you believe there's a tiny island that makes over 60% of the world's microchips? Yes, the chips that power your phone, laptop, and even your car. Without this place, the entire tech world could fall apart. That place is Taiwan. Taiwan is a high-tech giant, leading the world in semiconductor production. Despite being small in size, it's an economic powerhouse with one of the lowest unemployment rates in Asia. But here's the shocking part. The United Nations doesn't even officially recognize Taiwan as a country. Still, its economy continues to grow, even with constant political tension with China. The United States knows Taiwan is way too important to ignore, and that's why Taiwanese citizens will soon be allowed to enter the US without a visa. Every year, over 500,000 Taiwanese tourists visit the US, spending billions of dollars in American cities. With this new policy, that number is only going to explode. Number 9, Brunei. Can you imagine a country where gas is cheaper than bottled water? Where most people don't even pay income taxes? Sounds unbelievable, right? But it's real, and that country is Brunei. Brunei is a tiny but super rich nation in Southeast Asia, with just around 400,000 people. Its massive oil and gas reserves have made it one of the wealthiest countries in the world. In fact, it has one of the highest incomes per person anywhere on the planet. Here's the shocking part. The Sultan of Brunei, one of the richest royals alive, lives in a palace with 1,788 rooms. That's not a hotel, it's his home. But even with all this wealth, Brunei is rarely visited by tourists. Why? The country has strict laws, almost no nightlife, and a quiet, conservative culture that keeps visitors away. So why did the US decide to give Brunei visa-free access in 2025? Because of strong diplomatic ties, economic stability, and its status as one of the safest places in the world. Number 8, South Korea. Can you imagine living in a place where super fast internet is normal and your food shows up just 15 minutes after ordering? Where billion-dollar tech companies are everywhere, like coffee shops on every street. Welcome to South Korea, a country that's not just famous for K-pop, K-dramas, or luxury skincare. It's a tech and military powerhouse that plays a huge role in the world today. In 2025, South Korean citizens will be allowed to enter the US without a visa. Why? Because the bond between South Korea and the US runs deep. They're major trade partners. In 2023 alone, their trade was worth over $200 billion. South Korea is home to giants like Samsung, Hyundai, and LG, making everything from gadgets to military tools. But there's a twist. South Korea has one of the lowest birth rates in the world. The country is desperately trying to fix it, even offering people money to have babies. Still, America sees South Korea as key to peace and progress, especially with North Korea right next door. And that's why this visa-free deal matters. It's about trust, strategy, and survival. Number 7, Singapore. Can you imagine a country so tiny it barely shows up on a map, yet it's one of the richest places on Earth? That's Singapore, a small island where chewing gum is banned, but millionaires are everywhere. Sounds unbelievable, right? In 2025, the US will let people from Singapore visit without a visa, and it's not just because they love travel. Singapore is a financial superpower, moving trillions of dollars through its banks every year. The city looks like something out of a science fiction movie, with futuristic buildings, a near-zero crime rate, and world-class airports. Here's something shocking. Singapore's income per person is higher than in the US, Japan, and even China. How? The country runs like a business. Strict, smart and full of big investments. Even with its tiny size, it has one of the strongest passports in the world, letting citizens visit nearly 200 countries visa-free. But there's a catch. It's insanely expensive to live there. A basic car can cost over $100,000, and rent? Even a small apartment can cost thousands a month. Still, people move there for one reason: opportunity. The US sees Singapore as a key partner in Asia, helping American companies grow using Singapore's smart banking and perfect location. That's why the visa-free travel is happening. Number 6, India. Imagine a country where over 1.4 billion people live. Yes, that's almost 1/5 of the world's population. That country is India, a rising superpower that's expected to overtake the US economy by 2075. Shocking, right? India is no longer just a growing nation. It's now a global giant with the fastest growing major economy in the world. India is packed with tech geniuses, billion-dollar startups, and a young, skilled workforce that's actually building Silicon Valley from the inside. Here's something crazy. Over 12% of US startups were founded by Indian immigrants. And by 2025, India is expected to become the third largest economy in the world, passing Japan and Germany. So why is the US letting Indians enter without a visa in 2025? The answer is simple: business, education, and diplomacy. Over 4 million Indian Americans live in the US, and Indian students bring billions of dollars through college tuition and living costs. Even huge companies like Google, Microsoft, and Adobe are led by Indian-born CEOs. But here's the sad part: India is still a land of deep contrast. You'll see massive wealth next to heartbreaking poverty and fast-growing cities battling major pollution problems. Still, the US sees India as a critical partner, especially to stand strong against China's rising power. India's story is one of power, progress, and pain, and now it's reshaping the world in ways we never imagined. Number 5, Japan. What if I told you there's a country where people live longer than almost anywhere else, and the cities look like they came from the future? That place is Japan, a beautiful mix of ancient traditions and amazing technology. But here's the emotional part. Japan was destroyed after World War II. The country was in ruins, full of pain and sadness. Yet, in just a few decades, Japan didn't just survive, it became the third biggest economy in the world. Isn't that shocking? Today, Japan is home to giant brands like Toyota, Sony, and Nintendo. It has more robots per person than any other country, and trains that fly at over 200 miles per hour with almost no delays. Everything feels like magic. But not everything is perfect. Japan is losing its people. The birth rate is so low that the government is offering money to families just to have babies. It's a heartbreaking crisis. That's why the US is letting Japanese citizens travel visa-free in 2025. The two countries share strong military ties too, with Japan working closely with the US to stop dangers from North Korea and China. Japan's story is powerful, emotional, and truly inspiring. Number 4, Qatar. What if I told you there's a tiny country in the desert where natural gas is everything, like the heartbeat of its entire economy? It may sound unbelievable, but that country is Qatar. Small in size, yes, but its power and money? Absolutely massive. Qatar is one of the richest countries on Earth, thanks to its huge natural gas reserves. The money it makes from gas is so much that its citizens barely pay any taxes. Can you imagine living in a place where the government pays for everything? That's Qatar. Its wealth fund alone holds over $300 billion. That's more than what some countries earn in decades. But the shock doesn't stop there. Qatar also owns a powerful news network, Al Jazeera, which influences politics across the Middle East and beyond. And remember the 2022 FIFA World Cup? Yes, that was in Qatar too. Despite being small, Qatar has made huge friends, especially the United States. Why? Because of its location, right in the middle of a key energy and military zone. The US sees Qatar as a critical partner, not just for gas, but for global security. It's emotional and shocking to think how a small desert land turned into a giant global player. Number 3, Israel. Imagine a tiny country surrounded by danger where people live each day under the threat of war. Sounds heartbreaking, right? Now imagine that same country becoming one of the world's most powerful tech and military leaders. That country is Israel, small in size but huge in strength and mind-blowing in innovation. With just over 9 million people, Israel has built some of the most advanced military technology, like the Iron Dome, which can shoot down incoming missiles with incredible speed. Shocking, isn't it? Despite constant threats, Israel doesn't stop growing. It's known as the startup nation because it creates more new companies per person than even Silicon Valley. But there's more. Israel gave us amazing inventions like the Intel processor and breakthroughs in medical tech, agriculture, and cybersecurity. Its scientists and engineers are changing lives, even saving lives every day. Even though it lives in one of the world's most unstable regions, Israel's economy keeps rising. Its universities are among the best, and every year, thousands of Israelis move to the US for education and business, building stronger ties between the two nations. That's why the US is allowing Israelis visa-free entry in 2025. Israel shows us how a small nation can face pain, fight back, and still create a brighter future. Number 2, Philippines. Imagine a country made up of more than 7,000 beautiful islands with crystal clear waters, soft white sand, and people who welcome you with the warmest smiles you'll ever see. That's the Philippines, a place full of life, love, and breathtaking beauty. But behind the sunshine and paradise, there's a story of struggle and strength. The Philippines has over 113 million people, and while many live in poverty, face strong typhoons, and deal with political problems, the country continues to rise. It's heartbreaking at times, but also inspiring. Despite the hardships, Filipinos show incredible spirit and never give up. Here's something shocking. This country is one of the biggest call center hubs in the world. Millions of Filipinos help people from all over, working night shifts with friendly voices. But it's not just about answering calls. The Philippines is growing fast in technology, tourism, and business. Manila is now full of tech startups, and foreign investors are noticing. Now, in a surprising twist, the US is allowing Filipinos to travel visa-free in 2025. Why? Because the Philippines is becoming a powerful friend in Asia, helping shape the future of global trade. A once overlooked island nation is now standing tall. Number 1, Malaysia. What if I told you there's a country where different cultures, amazing food, and new technology all mix together in a way that feels like a dream? This is Malaysia, a place full of life, flavors, and fast change. Once it was known mostly for its rubber plantations, and many people lived in poverty. But now, it's shocking. Malaysia is one of the strongest economies in Southeast Asia. Can you believe this? From making electronics to selling oil, Malaysia now has a $400 billion economy. And it's not stopping. Kuala Lumpur, the capital, is filled with tall buildings, luxury malls, and mouth-watering street food that shows just how rich its culture is. But here's something even more surprising. Even though Malaysia is mostly Muslim, it's one of the most peaceful and tolerant countries in Asia. People from many religions, Hindus, Buddhists, and Christians, live and grow here together. That's rare in today's world. Even more shocking, Malaysia is becoming a tech giant. With the government's help, it's turning into one of Asia's digital powerhouses, and big companies like AirAsia and Petronas are making it famous. The US now sees Malaysia as a key partner, which is why Malaysians will be able to visit visa-free in 2025. From poverty to power, Malaysia's journey is emotional, impressive, and truly inspiring.